no much say in, and it then becomes difficult to execute. And everybody turns the accusing finger on the engineer. But we must be there at the planning stage, we must be there at the conception stage, we must be there at the advisory stage to even advise the politicians and the administrators. No, that's not a good project. This is the way to go about it from the advisory stage, not just at the execution stage. So for me, this is my take, and I think 2014 will look bright.
What should be done about the issue of road infrastructure in Nigeria? Should the Nigerian government bring in more foreign experts to tackle the problem? Does the current road construction problem mean that more funds must be pumped into the projects? Some have opinion that the issue noticed on the nation's road are indication that the roads were not properly built in spite of the huge amount spent on the construction work. This indicates that the problem of road infrastructural decay is more than the issue of fund, but could be that of proper planning and execution policies.
Like we are going to talk broadly, as in all the sector. Well, we are trying, really. We are trying, just that we still have a long way to go. We are trying. If you look at the infrastructure now, you have to consider so many other aspects of engineering. You have to consider the electrical, telecommunication, mechanical, and even the civil, the road. We are the Nigerian government has done a lot on all these things. Just that, as I said, we still have a long way to go. And the country is expanding, the population is increasing. So, therefore, we need order, to improve regularly. There must be a space of improvement. So, but yeah, we are trying. We could look at the power sector, for example. A lot of projects have been inaugurated, have been opened. If you look at rail, sector, that is transportation, rail is there. If you look at even dredging in our waterways, there's a lot of projects that are going on. And when I see some of them, we are really doing something. But it also boils down into the will of the government to put more budget, put more money into capital projects. That is just the most important thing, and we'll be able to get there one day. Yes.
Obviously, the National Assembly is yet to actually approve the budget. So what has been sent, what we've all read, are the statements of intention by the government. But one thing is clear, that there's a large amount of the budget is going to be spent on recurrent expenditure. What that means is that there'll be that much less money available for developmental purposes. What does that mean for engineering? Obviously, it means that there'll be less engineering work to be done. That will in itself not be a bad thing, provided the government, in using 78% of the budget in a recurrent expense mode, is able to stimulate other people. So we must get away from thinking that it's only government budget that can give work to engineering industry. The government can also stimulate other private sector people, other agencies to spend money for developmental purposes. So the government itself must not be seen as being the sole provider of engineering work. I'm sure that you've heard about a paper that was, it's called a white paper on the development of the engineering industry. It was done in 2005, which gave clear guidelines about how the engineering industry in Nigeria was going to be enhanced. It gave a range of projects that would only be handled by Nigerian engineers. I think not only consulting engineers, even contractors. That white paper, till today, is still, I suspect that it will no longer be white. I think the color would have turned a bit brown, would have aged. But nothing has been done about it. On the contrary, the Local Content Act, which regulates the oil industry, to my mind, has been massively successful. So what we're doing now is we're saying this: if it has worked and succeeded in the oil industry, there's no reason why it cannot work and succeed in the rest of the engineering industry. So we're pushing for that. But government can only regulate its own work. It cannot tell the blue chip multinational who to go to for work. So that is where the competence and the experience and the ability of our own engineers comes in. We must be able to demonstrate that we have the competencies to provide the service that the private sector requires. And that's an area where I'm afraid many of our engineers are failing. We do not have the rigor, we do not have the diligence, we do not put enough effort into what we do. So you cannot blame an investor who wants to invest money and says, I need to do this. If he's had a nasty experience with one or two people, he may think that he may need to go somewhere else. Now, you speak of South Africa. Even in South Africa, South Africans allow non-South African firms to work there. As a matter of fact, the biggest engineering firms in South Africa are not South African owned. They are multinational. But why have the multinational engineering firms gone to South Africa, stayed there and grown, rather than come here? It's the environment. The fact that when they go there and government gives them work, they know they will get paid. And they get paid a fee that is sufficient for them to have a nice profit and expand their business. Here, you're not sure you'll get paid if you work for government. Because first you have to beg the PAMSEC, go and see the minister at 12 midnight. All the sort of things that people everywhere else don't do. So is it any surprise then that the big firms don't come here? Because what has happened in South Africa is that many of the smaller firms, like mine, have been absorbed into the bigger firms, multinationals, because the environment was right. But here, it's different. Even in the private sector, sometimes you come across a private sector person who has been so spoiled by the Nigerianness of the environment that they think that they're doing you a favor. No, they're not. It's a win-win situation, or it should be a win-win situation, because you have a service to produce, you have skills to sell, and they need those skills. So there's no reason why they shouldn't treat you with respect. Professionals in this country are treated like beggars.
Well, viewers, this is where time will permit us. I want to say thank you so very much for all that you have done. Those of you who have called, those of you who have written, those of you who have sent emails, we appreciate you. If not for you, where will we be today? That's what business